Eugene Onegin, written in verse, is one of Alexander Pushkin's most famous works, often considered a cornerstone of Russian literature. The novel in verse tells the story of Eugene Onegin, a jaded and disillusioned aristocrat, and his relationship with a young woman named Tatiana Larina. The story, set in 19th century Russia, reflects the social dynamics, romantic ideals, and personal conflicts of the Russian nobility, while exploring themes of love, regret, and the complexities of human nature. The novel opens with Eugene Onegin, a wealthy and handsome young man living in St. Petersburg, leading a life of leisure, boredom, and superficial pleasures. Dissatisfied with high society's shallow rituals, Onegin withdraws from the city and relocates to a country estate that he inherits from his uncle. In the countryside, he befriends Vladimir Lenski, an idealistic and passionate poet engaged to Olga Larina, a simple and carefree young woman. Tatiana Larina, Olga's older sister, is very different from her vivacious sibling. She is introverted, dreamy, and deeply influenced by the romantic novels she reads. When Tatiana meets Onegin, she falls in love with him and, in a bold move for the time, writes him a heartfelt letter confessing her feelings. In this letter, Tatiana expresses her vulnerability and sincere emotions, hoping that Onegin might reciprocate. However, when Onegin receives the letter, he gently but coldly rejects Tatiana's love, explaining that he is incapable of settling down and would only make her unhappy. Soon after, during a celebration at the Larina estate, Onegin grows irritated by the provincial life and, out of boredom and spite, begins to flirt with Olga, Lenski's fiancée. This act of casual flirtation enrages Lenski, who, feeling humiliated and betrayed, challenges Onegin to a duel. Though Onegin does not desire to harm his friend, the duel's rules of honor demand that he accept the challenge. In the ensuing duel, Onegin kills Lenski, an event that marks a turning point in his life. Overcome with guilt and regret, Onegin leaves the countryside, traveling aimlessly in an attempt to escape his inner torment. Years later, Onegin returns to St. Petersburg, where he encounters Tatiana once again. However, she is no longer the naive country girl he once knew. Tatiana has matured into a poised and confident woman and is now married to a wealthy and influential general. Seeing her transformation, Onegin realizes too late that he is in love with her. He writes her passionate letters, hoping to rekindle what could have been, but Tatiana, while admitting that she still loves him, refuses to abandon her duty as a wife. She rejects Onegin, leaving him to grapple with his regrets and the consequences of his earlier actions. Themes and ideas in the novel. The clash between romanticism and realism. Eugene Onegin explores the tension between romantic ideals and the harsh realities of life. Tatiana, at the beginning of the novel, embodies the romantic ideal. She is deeply influenced by literature, seeing the world through the lens of passion and imagination. Onegin, on the other hand, represents a more cynical and realistic view of life. His rejection of Tatiana is not motivated by cruelty, but by his belief that love and happiness are fleeting and unattainable. As the novel progresses, Tatiana undergoes a transformation, becoming more grounded and pragmatic, while Onegin realizes too late that his earlier dismissal of love was a mistake. This reversal underscores the novel's exploration of how romantic ideals often clash with the practical realities of life, particularly in matters of love and relationships. Through these two characters, Pushkin delves into the complex nature of human emotions, the danger of cynicism, and the costs of failing to embrace authentic feelings. The role of fate and free will. Fate and free will are central themes in Eugene Onegin, as the characters' lives are shaped both by their choices and by circumstances beyond their control. Onegin's initial rejection of Tatiana and his thoughtless flirtation with Olga set in motion a series of tragic events, culminating in Lenski's death and Onegin's later regret. Yet, these decisions are not portrayed as entirely inevitable. Pushkin emphasizes the role of personal responsibility and the consequences of Onegin's actions. Tatiana's story, in contrast, reflects the theme of fate in a more positive light. Although her romantic dreams are shattered by Onegin's rejection, she eventually finds fulfillment in her marriage, even if it is not the passionate love she once desired. Pushkin suggests that while individuals have the freedom to make choices, they must also live with the consequences, and the path to happiness is not always straightforward or aligned with youthful fantasies. The isolation of the individual. Throughout the novel, Onegin is portrayed as an outsider, alienated from both the shallow, fashionable world of St. Petersburg society and the simple, provincial life of the countryside. His feelings of ennui and disillusionment make him incapable of forming deep emotional connections with others. This isolation is one of the central tragedies of the novel. Onegin's emotional detachment leads to his rejection of Tatiana, his strained friendship with Lenski, and ultimately his overwhelming sense of regret and loneliness. Tatiana, too, experiences a form of isolation, but hers is rooted in her introspective and idealistic nature. Early in the novel, she is set apart from the other characters due to her deep emotional sensitivity and her immersion in romantic literature. As she matures, she learns to navigate the world more effectively, but there is always a sense of distance between her and the more conventional people around her. Pushkin uses these characters to explore the emotional and intellectual isolation that can result from both idealism and cynicism. The passage of time and lost opportunities. Time and the loss of opportunities are major themes in Eugene Onegin. The novel spans several years during which the characters evolve and change. Onegin's early rejection of Tatiana and his reckless behavior toward Lenski are decisions that cannot be undone. When he returns to St. Petersburg and sees Tatiana again, he is confronted with the irreversible consequences of his past actions. Tatiana's rejection of him at the end of the novel is a poignant reminder that some opportunities once lost can never be recovered. Pushkin's portrayal of time emphasizes its relentless forward march, and the novel suggests that life's most significant moments often pass by unnoticed until it is too late to act on them. This theme of regret, of realizing too late what one has lost, permeates Onegin's character, leading to his eventual emotional and existential crisis. The role of society and social expectations. Social norms and expectations play a significant role in shaping the characters' lives in Eugene Onegin. The rigid social structure of 19th century Russia dictates much of what the characters can and cannot do, particularly when it comes to matters of love and marriage. Onegin's initial rejection of Tatiana is partly influenced by his perception of societal norms and his belief that a marriage to her would not fit into his lifestyle or social ambitions. Tatiana's later marriage to a general reflects the pressures placed on women to marry not for love, but for social stability and status. Even though she admits to still loving Onegin, Tatiana chooses to remain loyal to her husband, adhering to the societal expectation of duty over passion. Through these characters, Pushkin critiques the ways in which social conventions stifle genuine emotional expression and lead to missed chances for happiness. Conclusion: Eugene Onegin is a masterful exploration of human emotion, fate, and the complexities of love. At its core, the novel portrays the tragedy of missed opportunities and the consequences of emotional detachment. Onegin's rejection of Tatiana, his careless actions toward Lenski, and his eventual realization of his true feelings all contribute to his profound sense of regret and loss. Pushkin shows how Onegin's cynicism and disillusionment prevent him from embracing life's most meaningful experiences, leaving him isolated and emotionally bankrupt. The novel also examines the broader social and philosophical questions of 19th century Russia, such as the tension between romanticism and realism, the role of fate versus free will, and the influence of societal expectations on individual lives. Through the characters of Onegin and Tatiana, Pushkin reveals the emotional and existential struggles that arise from the conflict between personal desires and the constraints of society. Tatiana, though heartbroken by Onegin's rejection, ultimately finds strength and stability in her marriage, while Onegin, who once believed himself to be above such emotional ties, is left alone with his regrets. The passage of time and the finality of lost opportunities are perhaps the most poignant themes in the novel. Pushkin's portrayal of Onegin's belated recognition of his love for Tatiana serves as a reminder that life's chances are fleeting, and that our actions, or lack thereof, can shape the course of our futures in ways that we may only come to understand too late. In the end, Eugene Onegin is a meditation on the human condition, on love, regret, isolation, and the irreversibility of time. Pushkin's work resonates because it captures the universal experience of longing for something lost, of coming to terms with the choices that define our lives, and of grappling with the understanding that not all wounds can be healed, nor all opportunities regained. It is this profound insight into the complexities of human emotion that makes Eugene Onegin an enduring masterpiece of world literature. Created for Squeeze That Book channel. Please subscribe to follow new videos, and leave a comment with your thoughts about the book.